Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, and welcome to NerdTube. And it's time to talk about Star Wars Andor, Episode 7 announcement. The announcement being that a lot of money has been stolen from the Empire. Thank you very much, Daniel. We love you too, mate. Yes, know who the we are. The we are is No Budget Productions. They love me so much. All right, attention, all station. Here comes Azama. Yes, you're damn right. I'm here.
What
And
about
today.
Cheeto? Come on. What?
And today in Star Wars history, John Favreau was born. Yes, he is the second coming of George Lucas while George Lucas is still alive. Yeah, all right. Um, yes, and yes, welcome my friend Cheeto as well. We all love a bit of Cheaty. All right. So
Whatever.
this was the calm after the storm episode. Apparently, this episode is not apparently part of the 3 episode arc system. This episode is apparently a standalone, which is what I've been hearing through the grapevine. Now, in my personal opinion, with the way this episode went about, I think there might be a bit of an arc, so to speak, with Andor going to jail at the end. Maybe him in jail, he learns who the inmates are, befriends a few of them, maybe gets involved in the rebel cause a little bit, and then maybe by the next episode after that, it's jailbreak time, baby. Yeah, you know what I mean?
I totally disagree. I think that this is
This is
I
everything's
sorry.
part of an arc anyway. Everything's part of an arc.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
mean I feel like him going to jail, like him, I'm sure you're right. I'm sure he's gonna friend some people who will become rebels in jail. He talked about Biggs in this episode. Um
Bix, you mean?
and huh?
Bix or Biggs? Who's
Biggs.
Biggs?
Like Biggs
Who
and
the hell?
Wedge. Biggs.
Oh yeah, okay.
I don't know. I mean, he said Biggs pretty clearly. That's why I'm like, is this the same Biggs like we're
You
talking
sure he
about?
wasn't talking about? You sure he wasn't talking about Bix?
Maybe. I don't know. I'd have to go back
The
and.
girl, the girl, the hot chick.
Oh, you
Her
know
name
what?
is
That
Bix.
could have been
Yeah,
my
yeah.
bad. But anyway, but I mean, like, yeah, and I mean, Mon Mothma's finally starting to get more involved. You can see her trying to recruit some, and I mean, this all happens in this episode. But hey, Jim. But yeah, no, I mean, it's it's starting to turn up a little bit here, and yeah, I would say this is a part of the. I mean, you could call this the announcement arc. You know what I mean? Like it's
It's
on
the
the way.
Empire Strikes Back. It's the
Yeah.
Empire Strikes Back for sure.
Hmm.
Now, in the beginning of this episode, by the way, we see Cyril. Like Cyril, for me, is the most curious character in this whole show because while we're focusing on this guy having a mundane life, he has a bigger role to play at some particular point. We saw him at the beginning when he had an English accent. Now he's got an American accent since he lost his job, and he's getting involved with like his mum set him up with his uncle to get some work. We didn't meet his uncle, Uncle Harlow, I believe. We never saw him in this episode, but I'm sure we might see him at some particular point.
And I
But
really, oh,
yeah, go on.
I really feel like with him, it's not Uncle Harlow, the other guy, Bix,
Cyril.
no, not Cyril.
Mm.
I really feel like they're dragging their feet on. This is actually the part of the show that's frustrating me right now.
Really?
Yeah, because I'm okay with the slow burn, but it's like this is a really slow burn for this character in particular. Like, okay, he spent the entire last arc arguing with his mom. You know what I mean? Like this should have happened early. Like him
Well,
going to Uncle Harlow's and everything should have happened earlier.
he
I feel
wasn't in
like
the
in
previous episode, though, was he? He wasn't in the previous episode,
at
and
all.
I
No.
really and I feel like he's not taking up too much time. If his screen time was more than what it was, then I can understand. But I think we just get a reminder that this guy's still around and he still has a part to play, and I'm interested in that. And you still don't know what side he's going to fight for, the good or the bad, and that's what makes it so fascinating.
I think he's Mephisto, truth be told, but I mean,
Well, he did see, and by the way, we saw Star Wars television as well. Finally, like a television screen. I was wondering, but usually you see those sort of holographic things. You know what I mean? So like we saw a Star Wars television with a news report, and it looked like the BBC the way that reporter was dressed in the fucking kimono or where the fuck they were. You know what I mean? So yeah.
with him, it's just like I kind of wish they would. I don't want him to like. I don't want them to finish up. I'm not anxious for him to finish up with his arc. I'm just anxious for them to do something with him. I feel like in this arc, or in the last arc, he should have done this whole thing that he's kind of like doing the mundane job, and then like in the first episode of the last 3 episode arc, he argues with his mom. In the second one, he goes to Uncle Harlow's place or whatever. Third arc, he kind of catches up with Cassian or whatever, like catches something on
See,
Cassian.
this
And
is where I disagree, because I'm like, he for me is a big surprise, and I want that surprise to happen very slowly with lots of integral parts thrown in so we can see the build up to this surprise. We're getting a lot of other stuff already. We're getting the Cassian, we're getting the ISB, we're getting Luthen, we're getting more Mothma. There's a lot of stuff to keep us interested in various things. I want him to be that what the fuck moment, which will happen later on. But just keeping a little eye on him without him revealing his hand too soon.
well, and I kind of feel like he should have in this arc he should be like hooked up with the ISB or whatever they're called. Speaking of the ISB, I honest and truly, I feel like there wasn't enough ISB in this episode. There wasn't
They were
enough,
fucking great.
huh?
They were fucking great, man.
They were great. No, don't get me wrong. They were
No, I
great. I
know,
loved
I
it.
agree. Yeah, I
But
agree.
there
I'm
just
agreeing with you.
wasn't.
There wasn't enough of them.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I mean. I feel like we spent too much time with Cassian in this episode. I don't mind him going back to the
Really?
planet, and yeah, I don't mind him going back to the planet and talking with his surrogate mother, and I guess talking to his girlfriend and
Cassian.
stuff. Or Cassian,
Well,
yeah.
yeah. We didn't get him until like maybe a little bit halfway through, I believe. Like, like this is just to go into the episode. Like in the second scene of the episode after we deal with Cyril, like we get the ISB, the Empire striking back, and we see Colonel Yularen. I'm not sure if you remember him. He's in the Clone Wars. This guy.
Yeah. I heard
Yeah,
I heard him mentioned before. I'm not
he's
100% familiar with him, but I
he
know
was
he's
part of the Republic and everything. He
yeah.
was like maybe the emperor, like sorry, the guy who works for the Empire with a conscience, so to speak. But his fate was already sealed because he ends up being on the Death Star and dying on the first Death Star. So, but he was there, and he was a major Clone Wars character. He name drops Palpatine, said he spoke to Palpatine. And he's given the ISB full reign to do what they want. All crimes now are major crimes. There's no, this is where I think like the Empire were already a shit regime to begin with, but I think with what happened with regarding the heist, the Empire went into overdrive. They went full on fucking Gestapo. You know what I mean? Or as Marjorie Taylor Greene would say, Gazpacho. So yeah, they went full on with that. So all crimes and major crimes, all prison sentences will be re-evaluated, and that does come into play at the end of the episode as well. So yeah, we also see Mon Mothma, like she pays Luthen a visit, and this scene was great. The Mon Mothma scenes today killed it, absolutely fucking killed it.
Well,
Yeah,
and that's another one. I'm like, I wanted more of this. I don't want Cassian right now. Like I get checking in with him, but I want more of the Mothma and Luthen scenes and the ISB. That's what I want this arc. Anyway, go
Daniel Vance says, "Why would the Empire make the theft from their secure facility public knows by cracking down for the theft? It only serves to make them look weak."
Actually, no, I got a theory on that. I thought about that. Actually, I think it's because the Empire wants everyone to know that what happens next is because of those rebels,
Yeah,
and they don't want anyone harboring those rebels. So I think that honestly, like, I think that they're okay with telling people because it actually is going to help their narrative in the long run. Like, yeah, people are going to be like, "Oh man, that's fucked up," but at the same time, they're going to be like, the Empire's like, look, what happens next is on these guys. It's not on us.
Now, the only person who's not happy with this though is Deirdre. Deirdre Miro, the blonde-haired Imperial lady. She knows that this is kind of playing into their hands a little bit. So she's very unhappy with this because she thinks this is not the right move to make by just basically punishing the entire galaxy.
Well, and that's what Luthen wants too. He even said to Mon
Yeah,
Mothma,
yeah.
He said this is exactly what we want. We want them to overcompensate so that it looks bad on them. Like, so one side, one side thinks they're doing the right thing, and then the other side thinks that they're doing the right thing, and it's just like, like we're gonna. And obviously, the Empire is so cocky that they think that no matter what, they will fall in line with the Empire and they will blame the rebellion. They don't realize that they're going to get a lot of pushback from this eventually.
Well, first of all, Luthen's shop, by the way, is a Easter egg trove because I don't know what episode it was, but when we were previously in Luthen's shop, the Shankara stones from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom were in that shop. So yeah, they have a lot of Easter eggs. Apparently, there's like respirators from a particular Clone War character, and maybe the mask of one of the Jedi Temple guards or something like that was in
I think
the shop today.
wasn't there was something Star Killer's armor or something like that from The Force Unleashed. I think they had that.
Yeah, I think that in the previous episode they had that. Let me just quickly, before I go on about that anymore, let's see what Van's saying. Luthen's counter in his shop has an MCU Easter egg. To the right is a suit of armor, Iron Man, and to the left is a shield, Captain America. I'm gonna have to have a look at that again. Hopefully maybe I'll see a still image online or something. But yeah, okay, fair enough. I'll definitely.
I don't
keep an
think
eye.
it's actually Captain America's shield in its iron suit. I think he's just basically saying there's an iron suit there, and then to the left is a shield. So it's like I guess you can infer an Easter egg.
Well,
Guess.
the Shankara stones being there, what was
Well,
a
but
quality one?
that was exactly those stones though. Like that was a flat out,
Yeah,
like it's not like you saw Iron Man's armor in there and
yeah.
Captain America's shield in there.
Yeah, exactly. So, but this scene between Mon Mothma and Luthen was really well played. Like Stellan Skarsgård is such a great actor, so it
Oh
makes you
yeah.
wonder if he's ever won an Oscar or be nominated for one, because the way they know that Mon Mothma's driver is a spy. Yeah, they're very much aware of that, so they have to give this sort of performance in front of him where they're acting very jovial, but they're talking very seriously, and it was just fantastic. And in a way, Luthen, he after speaking to Mon Mothma tells him like people are going to suffer because of this. You did this. People are going to suffer, and he's counting on it. He wants people to suffer because if people suffer, they'll fight back out of desperation. He wants people to die even from this. He sees the bigger picture.
I was about to say he is definitely a cold motherfucker, but I mean he's not wrong. Like that's the problem. It's like not the
Yeah.
problem that it's like he's not wrong. Honestly, like he's right in his thinking. Is it right? No, but is he right? Yes.
So going back to Cyril, we see him apply for his job, and he explains to this dude that regarding his previous dismissal from his previous, so his dismissal from his previous job, mentioned certain people got killed and all of that, and some sort of like rebels escaped, but this dude, because he works for his uncle, I believe, just like kind of expunged his record, erased all the information, and gave him a chance to prove himself. But you look at the facility that he's working in, all these fucking cubicles and stuff like that. It's not that great, is it? It looks very mundane. I think he's looking at fuel purifying records and shit like that. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, it sounds like my old job.
this is one of the most interesting one of the more interesting scenes, because there's every scene pretty much in this episode had it wasn't just there for the sake of it. They had a lot of tense moments. Now Clea, I think her name is, that's Luthen's assistant. You see her wearing that red hoodie, that red top, and she's walking through the streets, and she meets up with Leda. Leda was one of the few people with Andor to survive the heist, and basically because this is where I think maybe Clea might be Luthen's daughter or something along those lines, because she pretends to be her shop assistant in the shop, but they kind of speak like equals to a degree. She does talk to him like they're on a similar level, but as far as she's concerned, Andor knows who Luthen really is. Andor's now become a loose end, and now she's telling Leda to kill him. It's just fucked. Like this is for the rebels. What do you think of that?
I mean, there's a lot of twists and turns in this episode, and I do agree with you. I think I don't know if it's his daughter, but I think there's something between those two. I think it's Lufin, right? Or
Luther, yeah.
I think Lufin saved her from something. I don't think it's like a romance or anything, obviously. I think it's like I think it's almost a parallel to Cassian, because you know how his surrogate mom saved Cassian from the planet or whatever and took him in. I think it might be more of that situation, but maybe it's his daughter. I'm not going to die on that mound, but I feel like it's something different than like a daughter. I think they're in the trenches together is how I feel it more so is. But yeah, I don't. You're talking about when Cassian, when they told the one girl from last arc to kill Cassian, right?
Yeah, the two women who met up, one was wearing red, the other
Yeah,
one was Leda from the previous.
I know,
It
and
was
she
part of
looked
the
like she
heist.
looked all glammed up. I'm like, what
Yeah,
happened
well,
here?
she's like they're on Coruscant, you know what I mean? So you can't look
Yeah,
like a
I know.
tramp.
There's a standard on Coruscant. It doesn't surprise me, and I actually really like this because it shows the nitty gritty of the Empire. I would not be opposed to her and Cassian facing off again, and Cassian having to kill her, just because the rebellion's dirty, man. Like I this is what I want from this show. I want to show that the good guys aren't necessarily all good. Like their
Yeah.
cause is good, but that don't mean they're all good. I mean, we saw that last episode with the one guy that Cassian shot. I don't remember his name. I'm terrible with names.
Scream or Skeen or something like that.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
he was, as soon as they got that money and they got to that first planet, you thought he was all for the cause, and then all of a sudden he's like, we could just take this and split.
Well,
Like
Cassian knows a rogue when he sees one and realizes
yeah,
that this guy, well, yeah, if he's willing to double cross the people that he's been working with, he will double cross Cassian in a heartbeat and take all the credits for himself. So Cassian just nipped it in the bud and killed him.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
that was
yeah,
great
and
when he
so
done it. Yeah.
my fear is that she's going to go after Cassian. She's going to infiltrate the jail or wherever he's at. He's at some fringe jail right now that probably has conjugal visits or something. Like it. So she's not going to have a hard time getting in. It's not like a like super imperial prison or something like that.
Well,
I would imagine.
the gel. I mean, we'll get to that bit at the end as well.
Well,
I'll
no, but
get
I'm
to it
talking
now.
about her. What I think's going on with her, and I think
Well,
that
he's
honestly,
under a different alias, by the way, as well. He's under the name of Quiff or Keith or whatever. Or yeah, 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 Queef. That's it, Queef.
But I think she's going to break in to kill him, like in his cell or something like that. And then she's going to end up breaking him out, and then he's going to join the cause at that point.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's where I see that going. But it's good to see that dirty, down and gray area of the rebellion again.
So Cinta's running away on a speed bike. I mean, she's still stuck on that planet, so I don't know where the fuck she's gonna go. But we won't find out. We never found out in this episode. But we do see Andor go back to his mother's place, mother being a surrogate mother, so to speak, Marva, and she tells him that that Bix, his boyfriend, was the one who, as we say in the United Kingdom, grassed him up, ratted him out, as you would say in America. And Andor wants to pick up sticks with Marva and B2. I love B2, by the way. I would love to have a droid like B2. B2 is an awesome droid because Andor's got a lot of money now, so he wants to move, wants to take Marva and B2 with him, get the fuck out of that planet. But Marva seems reluctant, and so Andor then checks up on Bix. Now Bix is fucked up. She wants nothing to do with Andor, and she blames him for all that happened to her, her late boyfriend, and everyone else in that town because they all suffered because of Andor. Andor also wants to know about Luthen and how Luthen knew about him. But if Bix does find Luthen before Andor does, then Luthen basically leaves a message with Bix by saying, "Yeah, just leave me alone. I want nothing to do with you anymore." So, in a way, Leda doesn't really need to kill Andor, regarding the news on Luthen, because Andor seems to be a man who wants nothing to do with Luthen anyway. He's willing to forget about him. but they don't obviously know that, especially Kayla. So yeah. Anyway, Andor pays the credits he owes her, and then he fucks off. And then we see some marching stormtroopers, and that gives a flashback to Andor. He sees his adoptive father called Clem, and this was the other. This was the dude who was with his mother, when they found him on that spaceship, and he was killed by clone troopers. Did you notice that there were clone troopers? They
I
weren't
actually did not notice they
stormtroopers.
were clone troopers. Are you sure they were
Yeah,
clone
yeah.
troopers?
I watched it a second time. They were clone
Okay. No,
troopers.
I,
Yeah.
I right here, baby, clone troopers.
Well, this was at the beginning. This was the beginning of the Empire's reign, so they still had clone troopers back then.
Yeah, they hadn't
Yes.
transitioned out yet.
Yeah. So yeah, and because it's just like his dad like was trying to stop these guys from throwing stones, ends up being in amongst those guys, and then he gets blamed. Um, yeah, and then he gets hanged. Obviously, Clem's death was very reminiscent of the Crispus attacks, the first American killed at the Boston Massacre at the start of the American Revolution. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, fair enough. Mon Mothma, by the way, Mon Mothma looks so fucking great at that dinner. I couldn't keep my eyes off her. She looks stunning at that dinner party they had, and she runs into her old friend called Tay Colmer. This is the British actor, by the way, called Ben Miles. He's been in a lot of stuff. I instantly recognize his face. And this scene as well, Cheeto, was so well done. Like, this is like the way they did this scene was fantastic, because she's trying to find out as much as she can about him, if she can trust him. And the moment he said that he has no love for the Empire, regarding politics, but he said to her, "Is this personal or politics?" And she said politics, and she goes, "Well, you better keep it to yourself, because I have no love for the Empire." And then she immediately realized, yeah, this guy is on my team. And then as they roam around, and he's constantly telling her, giving it little tidbits of information here and there, mentioning the fact that she's not really who she says she is. Like the Mon Mothma the world sees is not the real Mon Mothma. There is another Mon Mothma. I mean, I guess we're all like that to a degree, in my opinion. But yeah,
I don't know. Y'all get the real Cheeto 100% of the time right here. I mean, I'd show you my scrotum if I was allowed to.
likewise. But she was like, there's like every time they would talk after a minute or two, she'll go, "Smile." I love that. I mean, just smile. Just like we're having a jolly conversation. Talking like, but they were childhood friends, so they're just talking like they're remembering the past, and and all of that sort of stuff. And she even mentioned regarding her husband, and she had no hesitation to say this: "Don't trust my husband." Because as far as she's concerned, all her spies could either be a spouse, could even be a fucking daughter. It was it it was such a great scene. But she basically wants
Oh no, this is why I wanted more Mothma in this episode. Like, I think we got 2 scenes with her technically. We got with Luthen, and with at the party. I don't think we got anything else really, right? So I don't know. I felt like
Luthen
I
at the
wanted,
party. Yeah,
I wanted more like of ISB and Mon Mothma this episode. I didn't want Serial and Cassian so much. I feel like, as I said, unless they're going to do
I
something.
didn't think we get Cyril that much at all, dude.
No, I know, but I'm just like, why? Like, I want them to do something with him. I think he should be like, I think this arc he should be with the ISB at this point, and hopefully that's where he's heading. Either that, or he's going to join the rebellion.
No, I like the fact that we don't know if he's good or bad yet. I keep going back to that. Keep it a mystery, and let that we'll unbox that later on, because it still looks like he's more on the side of bad, and but you never know. Like,
I think he's gonna. No, I think Cassian's gonna be his Moby Dick. I really do. Like, I think Cassian's
for
going.
sure.
I think he's gonna
You've got
die on that
something
whale.
there. Yeah. Let's see what. By the way, what Zama says, it's a go. You're damn right. You're damn right. Laugh out loud, Cheeto. So when we first see the tables at Mom's dinner party, it resembled the table at Sky City where Vader was waiting for Han and Leia. I mean, it was all white, so
it was a table
it was a long table, and it was all white and stuff. So I can see those resemblances. you know, and they were quite high up because obviously in Coruscant, if you're on the higher up buildings, you got monies. You know, what I mean that's why people like Cyril are like all underground and shit. And so yeah, but just that scene and this guy Tay, if he does seem to be somebody who will be on his side. Will he live by the end of this show? We don't know. You know, he might end up being cannon fodder, but he seems to be somebody. But also at the same time, Mon Mothma, she's got a lot of money that if she accesses that money, it'll be suspicious. So
Hmm.
she's trying to start some sort of account, some sort of funding with Tay, and that way, if she can access her funds to maybe fund the rebellion, it won't be suspicious. It's just brilliant stuff. There's a lot of depth in this show. You know, before we continue any further, it's a bit of a shame that this show is not getting a lot of views. Generally, with what I've been hearing, you know, but
Which is really sad because this is the shit we want. Like this is the good shit that
yeah,
I've been waiting for. This is that good shit. Like I don't know what. Give me, I don't know. I need a good weed term, but I don't know one. So like this is the good shit.
I agree. And the funny thing is, like, you don't hear f bombs in the Star Wars universe. So in the way Disney have got quite lucky in that way. I mean, they can just make up their own swear words like dank farrick and stuff like
Dank
that. Yeah.
I think that should be our swear word though. Anytime we like, dank ferric.
Yeah, exactly, and stuff like that. So they can make up their own swear words. They can,
I mean, they did
they
that on
get.
Firefly, although I think they did it in Chinese though. I think it was they spoke Chinese when they swore, but
But the point is like like the three things that tend to be R-rated is violence, nudity, or sex and nudity is one, and swearing. They don't need to go down the swearing route initially, and violence. Well, there is plenty of Star Wars has had plenty of violence. We've had decapitations, we've had losses of
dismemberments.
limbs, stabbings. People being cut in half.
Well, and the
So
only thing that saves it from any of that gory detail is that they say the lightsabers singe like the
yeah, it
wound shut as it
cauterizes.
goes.
Yeah, it cauterizes the wounds.
Yeah,
But
it cauterizes the wound.
even then, we've had the odd bit of blood spill and all of that. So theoretically, we've had mass genocide in Star Wars as well with the destruction of planets. So yeah, we've had a lot of death in various ways. So the violence is there, and you don't necessarily need sex and nudity. This is sci-fi. This is fantasy sci-fi in a way. So this show can be adult orientated, in its own way, and I'm loving this. But unfortunately, as Daniel Vance said, it's the lowest rated of all the Star Wars shows. That is insane. I've been hearing people telling me it's just dialogue heavy and stuff like. This is what we need though in Star Wars. We need this.
Well, and this
Everything
is
is
what I've always been saying. That's what the problem with Star Wars is that it's so geared towards a high octane Jedi's and everything like that. And it's just like, I mean, like a lot of people say that Rogue One, if it wasn't for the big epic battle at the end of Rogue One, a lot of people would say that one was a slog too. So, I mean, I don't know. Ooh, hold on, we got a comment coming through. I think Zam, you're gonna like.
oh my
Yeah.
god.
Speaking
Sex scene private dating, chat girls. Ooh.
speaking
Ooh.
of sexy. How do I get rid of that comment? Hold on. There we
No,
go.
maybe Vance can do it for us. Um yeah, so where was it? I apologize.
See,
I've
we
lost
start talking
myself.
about sex and that shows up.
So Marva, that she doesn't want to leave her home planet. She says that she's basically staying for the rebellion, and you can hear Cassian Andor saying, "That's insane." And she sees the uprising since the payroll robbery. Everyone's a bit more uplifted, and but she also at the same time know that Andor has to leave, because she loves him, and if Andor stays, he's fucked. So she wants to stay to help with the rebellion cause, but she also knows that Andor has to leave, and she does it because she doesn't want him to get hurt. And she also told him, listen, stop searching for your sister as well. And I'm glad she brought that up because the sister subplot has pretty much been forgotten.
Dude,
So
I hate that. Like that whole side plot. Yeah, I hate that whole side plot because it's like it just like it's not even a plot line that's in the anywhere near the forefront of my mind. I'm like, just give it up. Like, don't. I I just don't. I guess like yeah, it could be motivation for him to go after the Empire if she's dead or they kill her or whatever. But it's like we don't care. We really don't.
I totally agree. And by the way, Daniel, I love when you moderate. I don't hate it. I love it. So yeah, thank you very much for coming out of retirement because it's been a while since you've done it. So it almost feels like retirement because then again, we don't get many people in our streams anyway. But when you have to do it, you do it like a fucking boss. All right. So back to the ISB, and this was a really good scene, by the way. Like we see Belvin calling out Miro, basically saying, "Look, she's gone a bit rogue. She's doing her own thing. She's wasting our resources trying to find out all this other shit, and I think she's she should be reprimanded for that or something like that." But this is it kind of like you see Major Partagaz basically evaluating both sides. He's listening to both sides, hearing what they both have to say. And Mira gives her own account saying, look, they're not following the rules. Why the fuck are we following the rules? We have to take initiatives here. She mentioned that she believed in about this particular uprising. She sees patterns and she's using her initiative. She's trying to find a resolution to this problem that they're dealing with, whilst Belvin is basically just trying to shit on Miro. And Partagaz realizes this, very impressed with Miro. Basically commends her, kind of shits on Belvin, but then tells Miro as they're walking along, watch your back, because
Yep.
to a degree they are working with the Sith, and the Sith are all about backstabbing each other, even though they may not be Sith themselves, fucking each other over, and
That's the
it's
mentality,
basically
even in the Empire.
yeah,
With the that's fuck. They may not be. Let me put it this way: they may not be killing each other. Well, they probably will try to, but they're not trying to kill each other to get ahead. But they are going to try to ruin each other to get ahead.
exactly. And this was
And
a
I'm sure
great
he'll probably
scene.
try to kill her, like some way or
One,
another.
this was also a really fantastic scene.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Fantastic,
fantastic.
fantastic scene. The dialogue in the scene and stuff like that was just amazing.
I know. I never
So
knew board meetings could be so interesting.
yeah. So the final segment of this episode was Planet Miami, also known as
You mean I thought it would be more like no, it wouldn't be Planet Jamaica because Jamaica is more
Los
Hudson.
Angeles, Venice Beach, Planet.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
But I felt it had
Planet
more of a
Vacation is what it
vibe.
is.
It felt more Miami than Venice Beach, but
Yeah. Oh no, I
nevertheless,
mean you're right. It definitely looks like Venice or Miami.
so Andor's like banging this local girl. I love their room, by the way. I would love to have a house like that. That looked pretty cool. And he's calling himself Keith or Kiev or Kiev,
Or
Kiev
Queef.
or Quif, Queef. That's it, Queef. I'm gonna call him Queef as well. And he's just going through his credits and stuff like that, seeing how much money he's got and stuff. And then he's asked to go to the shop to get some pizzos, wherever the fuck they are. You know what pizzos are?
Nope.
Pizza rolls, maybe.
Yeah, pizza rolls. He walks up to like a kiosk or not a kiosk, but like a vendor, and it's like Vance Major turns around. He's like,
Yeah.
"You here for some meatballs or not pizza rolls?"
Pizza.
Menard in every universe. He's like, I'm a Mario Menard. I give you some pizza rolls.
Yep. So he's going to the shop to get some pizzos, and there's some people running away from some beach troopers, and then one beach trooper says, hey, what are you doing? Why are you sweating so much? Because it's hot and all
Yeah, I
that.
know, right? It's
Why
like
are you
welcome.
looking
It's like you when you went to America.
Yeah, like Kate, and then like he's like this beach trooper is just not having it, and like because this is the thing, like the Empire has already said to clamp down on any suspicious activity, any suspicious activity. I mean, somebody might not be even being suspicious, but if you think to yourself, "Fuck it, they're suspicious," I'm gonna, they're gonna jump on it, and then a KS droid comes along, and I thought this could be obviously this is not K2 SO, but still, it reminds you that this guy, his sidekick, his Chewbacca, so to speak, is still to come on this show, whether it be this season or next.
No, I feel
But
like he's gonna meet him in the prison or something like something's gonna happen in the prison. That's when he's gonna K2SO is gonna come in.
well, he gets choked out by this droid. The beach trooper told him that just hang with him, and so he literally took him for his word and hung him until he passed out. And then Andor goes to court as Keith or Quiff.
Or as we like to call in America, assembly line justice.
Okay.
I mean, do you see all the people that were just standing there? Like, it's just assembly line justice. They're just like, well, 6 years, move on. Like, they have like a little slider thing. It's like, oh, God.
This is my favorite part of the episode because, well, not my favorite part, but this is like the most ironic part of the episode as far as Andor's concerned because Andor committed the crime where he stole the payroll. He, in turn, has now made the Empire inflict harsher laws inflicted on him when he was mistaken for being with a bunch of people that was running away. So in a way, Andor has now indirectly had laws affected on him, which he created.
Well, it's basically it's his comeuppance pretty much. It's karma. Like, not that the Empire didn't deserve it, but it's like this is what you get for for trying to leave. I mean, he even said he's like, I'm going to go far away from the Empire. Not far enough. Like,
you can never get far enough, and like some of the stuff he was convicted for, he never did.
yeah,
Like bad
right.
mouthing the Empire and stuff like that. You couldn't believe it. Like fucking 6 years, boom, and then that's it. He's gonna go to jail for 6 years. And his girlfriend or whoever he's banging is probably expecting to come back with some pesos. That ain't happening anytime soon. So yeah, that was just brilliant, and obviously we end with more of Cyril looking through his screens and stuff like that. He's obviously obsessed with Andor, but that's how the episode ends, and it's brilliant. We're going to talk a bit more about what's going to happen next week, but let's just quickly go through some of the comments here. Daniel Vance says K2SO and Nemec both have the same last word before death. Cassian will use the book to reprogram K2SO.
K2SO told they were in the data vault or whatever, and K2SO was telling them to climb, and then Nemec's last word was climb because he was telling them to climb up above the meteor shower. So yeah, I didn't notice that, but that's a good catch, Daniel.
Okay, so he's in jail now. The Empire is now in full force. Leda wants Cassian dead, whether she finds out that he's at that prison or not. It'll be one thing. And she obviously won't alert the Empire to kill him because that will then they won't kill him. They'll torture him for information to find out who hired him, so to speak. So Leda's not going to grass him up. So yeah, there's so many avenues we can go to from next week. I'm already looking forward to it, and
no, I think she's going to sneak in the prison to try to kill him and end up breaking him out. That's how I foresee that going.
Well, I don't think that will necessarily happen next week. That'll be too soon. The way this episode's paced out, if she does find out he's in that particular prison, she won't bail him out until the following episode.
No. I agree with you. She'll find him, and we're gonna get Cassian in prison. Like, we'll get some of that nonsense, like Cassian in prison and stuff like that, like Arrow season 6 or 7 nonsense. But like for an episode, but no, I agree with you. In the third episode, it's going to be the big breakout. So like at the beginning of the first 3 episodes was the recruitment, and then the next 3 episodes was the
Heist.
heist, and now the end of these 3 episodes is going to be the breakout. So, and then we don't know what the next ones are going to be, but no, this is definitely a 3-issue arc.
Yeah, if she wanted to kill him let's wait for this thing to pop up on here.
I know.
Was yeah, it's weird how it always takes longer to come up here. If she wanted to kill him in prison, it's much easier to just anonymously pay someone to do it for her. Yeah, I guess so. But then that person is part of the loop, if you know what I mean. So then he becomes a loose end.
Yeah,
And
but
then
no,
what
I
does she?
mean, but the person in prison doesn't have to know anything. They just need to pay him and be like,
No,
look,
but
we're gonna.
yeah, but if they know who Lader is, and then fine, let's say Lader pays somebody to pay him, then that person knows who Lader is. So in a way, the only way, if you want a job done right, you got to do it yourself, which means that in a way, she has to be the one who does it all. But there's always going to be a loose end to tie up. So yeah,
As I said,
that's
I think she's gonna end up breaking him out instead of killing him.
yeah for sure. But we're already over halfway now in this series.
Can't say I'm disappointed though. I feel like we've gotten a good
yeah.
season already. Like, I mean, this even if they stopped at episode 6, I feel like we've gotten a shit ton of good content. And like, I'm glad we've got more episodes to come. But I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, I'm glad to. Even though episode 6 was a good peak of the season so far, I'm glad that there's more to come as well. Because yes, episode 6 will leave us wanting this more, and that's always a good sign. I'm glad we are getting more at this moment in time. Like too many shows now. Like there was a time when you get episode seasons that are 22 episodes at a season, and you'll get that on a yearly basis. Now we're lucky to get several episodes, just 5 or 6 episodes in a year, every couple of once every 2 or 3 years. A
Well, they are
season
talking
is
about. I mean, they're talking about some of the lower budget, not lower budget, but lower. Like that doesn't have a ton of star power in it. Like those, like Charlie Cox's Daredevil is very very popular, but I mean, like I wouldn't say he's megastar status like some of the other Star Wars characters, like Ewan McGregor or Mandalorian's a bit different, I guess. There's not huge megastars in there, but I really feel like they're going to start like if the budget is there for it. I really feel like we're going to get more episodes. It was like Daredevil, because Daredevil's going to be 18 episodes. I don't know. I
18.
don't.
Well, yeah.
Go ahead.
Just so you know, Jim, we're going to be getting 12 episodes of Andor.
Yeah.
So, which is kind of unheard of initially. Like the only shows that gave us a reasonable amount of episodes was WandaVision
And She-Hulk.
She-Hulk, but She-Hulk were giving us episodes that were less than half an hour long, which is a joke in my opinion. And like apart from maybe 1 or 2 episodes, one I think which was like 46 minutes, nearly every episode of Andor has been over 50 minutes long.
That's what I'm saying. I think if
juicy
they don't
content.
have like big name actors in these things, I feel like we're going to get more. Like I feel like and they have said that they're trying to increase the episode count now that they've kind of figured out the formula for these streamings, because originally it's like they didn't know how they were going to do it, because it's like they wanted to do it like movies. I mean, so you do have those with Tom Hiddleston and Owen Wilson and Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan. Like those guys are decently made actors. You know what I like especially Owen Wilson.
Anthony Mackie's been acting for over 20 years.
That's what I'm saying. They're all
You've seen
bigger
8 Mile
actors.
with Eminem.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
he was the bad guy rapper.
yeah.
He had to go up against Eminem at the end.
Well,
Anthony Mackie's been around for a long time.
No, I know he has. I mean,
yeah.
but that's what I'm saying is like you've got seasoned people like that, but then you have like Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany, which I maybe in recent years like have kind of come up in status, but like
Paul
when
Bettany's been around
WandaVision was
forever,
first
man.
huh?
Paul Bettany's been around forever.
He's been
You know what I
around
mean?
forever, but he's not a superstar. Like
No,
that.
no, I agree. These are at least they're seasoned actors. Like
Yeah,
they've been elevated. Like Chris Hemsworth was doing Australian soaps called Home and Away, and stuff
he
like
was
that.
Kirk's dad in Star Trek. He had like literally 5 minutes on screen.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like when at the beginning, like even the funny thing I mentioned about that show, Dick Jeffrey, about Dharma, which starred Evan Peters. You know who's a Marvel character who plays Peter Maximoff. Well, you
Pietro
know who?
Maximoff.
Well, Pietro is in the MCU. He played Peter in the
Did he?
Fox universe. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean that tracks. I don't remember.
but you know who also played Dharma?
Who?
Jeremy Renner in the early 2000s.
Oh
He played
God.
yeah. So fucking Marvel superheroes are playing serial killers. So yeah. So, but nevertheless, like some of these guys, they get super elevation because of Marvel. I mean, they've already been recognized actors.
But I'm just saying, but Diego Luna, is that his name?
Yeah, yeah.
Diego Luna. But he's not a superstar. So like you can pay, like with their budget, you can get more episodes out of him because you pay him less because he's not a superstar.
He was a
Where
supporting role in Rogue One. It was Penelope, what's her face? She was the main actress.
Felicia, was it Felicia? Felicity?
Penelope Fitz, something like that. But
No,
she
I'll
was the
find out.
main.
Hold on.
She was the main actress. Like somebody mentioned this in one of these reviews I watched. Andor is a show about a supporting cast member, and he's the main character.
Felicity
So
Jones.
Felicity Jones. I don't know why I said Penelope, but yeah, Felicity Jones. So she was the main character in Rogue One, not Andor. But regardless, like this show is the best Star Wars show on television, and
It's honestly been the best Star Wars television show in my opinion. I'm sorry, like I'm not a big Clone Wars fan, even though I'm wearing a Bad Batch shirt. Actually, my daughter got this for me, so I'm wearing it.
Bad Batch is his own series now as well.
No, I know, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, anyway. But I mean, like, all respect to Clone Wars, Bad Batch. What other one was there? What's that other one that was out there? What's that other stupid with Ezra Miller? Or not Ezra Miller.
Ezra Bridger.
Ezra Bridger. Why am I losing the name? Rebels, yeah. So there's Rebels.
I've never watched that.
But I'm sorry, like those ones those ones from what I've seen are good series. But looking at Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett and Obi-Wan, like Andor is a stage above all of it, in my opinion. It is way, way up there in quality versus any of that other stuff that's come before. And honestly, I'd put it above most of the movies too. I'd put a single episode of Andor against most of the Star Wars movies, and Andor would come out on top.
I'm actually having a debate with your friend Mike.
Oh boy.
And
yeah, no, he says it's boring, I think, right?
He thinks it's boring, but he goes to me, I don't know why I'm watching this show. But he mentioned how he liked Obi-Wan better. He goes, he doesn't know why he's watching the show because we already know that the character dies. And I was telling him, well, we already know Obi-Wan dies. So like when we watch the Star Wars prequel, we already know Palpatine dies. We know fucking Anakin dies. We know Obi-Wan dies. We pretty much know most of. We know Yoda dies. So what's the point?
Why bother watching any of it if they're gonna die? The only one that we should be watching for is Poe Dameron, and Finn and Rey Skywalker.
Even Luke, like we never knew Luke was gonna die until the sequels. And actually Han Solo as well, and fucking they killed them off. They killed them all. The only one who lived was was Lando and Chewbacca.
Well, he had the rest of the universe to bang. Lando had to be around.
Yeah.
He had to have sex with the rest of the universe.
Well, sex with everything in the universe with his pants. They made him pansexual, didn't they? So like, all right, there's a hole in the wall. That's it. It's mine. You know what I mean? It's mine, old buddy.
Lando be Lando.
Yeah. So yeah, but regardless, before we sound like neckbeards, excellent episodes. I think it's time to mark episode 7. What are you going to give it?
I'm gonna give it an 8. As I said, it wasn't bad by any means. It's just I wanted more Mothma. I wanted more Serial. I wanted more. I wanted more ISB. I was kind of hoping we get a break from Andor and what other there. I think there's one other plot line, but I really wanted some of the supporting characters to kind of get a lot more time this time. And like Andor's like literally in the background, like not doing anything at the moment. He's spending his credits on Planet Vacation, Planet Miami.
Let me just quickly respond to before I give my thingy. Does that include letterbox? Yes,
Yes,
it
it
does.
does.
Yeah.
It's not a letterbox;
Right.
it's a Lando box at that point.
The writing, the cinematography, and imagery are all perfect. I could write a whole thesis on Mons in the party alone. Yeah. Yeah. By the way, I got the hot for her now. She looks so hot in that outfit, and she's like 45 years old, man. She looks amazing. You know,
Tim, I hate to break it to you, but that's kind of in your age bracket. You know that, right?
I know, but I'm 45 years old and I don't look amazing. You know what I mean? So yeah, exactly. I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. This episode was fantastic. There was not a single scene in this episode where I thought to myself, waste of time. What we're doing here. I found, even the most mundane stuff like just following Cyril into work, everything had a purpose as far as I was concerned. And once again, I find Cyril to be the most interesting character of all of them because we don't know what his purpose is going to be and what role he's going to play because you don't follow this guy around for no fucking reason whilst he's doing fuck all. So I'm very much looking forward to the surprise of what he has to offer in the latter episodes. If they just kill him off at some particular point and made him cannon fodder, I'll be very upset. Um, but yeah, I have to give this episode a 9. I think everything, the Mon Mothma scenes were fantastic. Stellan Skarsgård, the guy can carry anything he's in. He's just superb. Even the scenes with Andor was pretty great. Funny in a way. I think some of the scenes with him when he was on Planet Miami was like some of the most funniest scenes actually in a way because of the irony of it all, which made me laugh and obviously the ISB scenes as well. Fantastic. This really felt like Game of Thrones in space. It really did. This really felt like Game of Thrones in space.
See,
Like
I
if Game of
don't insult Star Wars by comparing it to Game of Thrones.
No, Game of Thrones like you don't have to necessarily like Game of Thrones or if you're into it or not, but it's a very popular show, and it's the skullduggery, the backstabbing, and the different factions and all of that. It's there, and this is fantastic. I can't get enough of this, and I want more of my Star Wars in the future to be of this sort of caliber. Yeah, it's all good to get the pew pews and the wham bam thank you ma'ams, but sometimes you need that sinking man Star Wars. This is it, and I fucking love it. And I'm just so scared of the future of Star Wars if people who but the people who everyone who does watch this show likes it. That's the thing. Not everyone's watching the show, but everyone who does watch it likes it.
Except for Mike.
And except for Mike.
Screw you,
Yeah.
Mike. He's my friend. I can say that.
Yeah. Yeah, but at the same time, not enough people are watching this show, and that's what concerns me about in future Star Wars projects. Will they keep to this level, of adult orientated Star Wars content with very clever dialogue scenes where you can see the bigger picture and stuff like that. Superb acting, all of that. Just it
And here's
scares
the
me.
thing.
It really does worry me what the future of Star Wars holds if this is not going to be a popular show.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, we can love it all. We can love it all we want, but if it doesn't get the clicks, it's kind of like the John Cena problem. It's like when to quote wrestling here, it's like the problem with John Cena is that he's super popular with the kids. Ergo, that means that he's going to be super popular. If the show Obi-Wan draws the numbers, we're going to get more shit like Obi-Wan. If Book of Boba Fett draws all the numbers, it's whether it's good or bad, we're going to get more of that. Now, if Andor is not delivering those those ratings, even though it's as good as it can be, we're not going to see more of it. And I'm okay with there being kids Star Wars content. young adult Star Wars content and adult Star Wars content, but you got to give it to us in a balance. You know what I mean? Like we can't just have all this kiddie shit or Jedis and lightsabers and pew pews and stuff like that, and not have like like the Andor. Disney Plus has been around for going on 3 years now, I think, or more than 3 years. And this is the first time we've gotten something that is not like pandering to Star Wars fans. You know what I mean? Like Mandalorian in the beginning was okay, but it started pandering to fans like by the end of the first season. And then in the second season, it really pandered to fans. And that's what I didn't like. This show
Right
is
from the
not
beginning with Boba Fett and
Oh yeah, Book of Boba
yeah.
Fett right off the bat, and Obi-Wan. Ewan McGregor
No,
walked on the
but I'm just saying
screen.
Mandalorian season 2 like pandered to fans from the very beginning. Even Baby Yoda was a pandering to fans because
Yeah.
it's Yoda. And then we see Boba Fett's armor, and then we see Boba Fett, and then Luke Skywalker, and all of that. So yeah, there was a lot of pandering, and I think because some majority of the Star Wars content we're getting is really fucking shit. Unfortunately, that when something like Andor does come along, people are like, "Fuck this! I can't be asked." I've been burnt too many times.
Well, and here's the thing: it's not. You're right. It's not a major character. It is a co-star from one. But the thing is that's what we need. We need a character that's not like a big face like Obi-Wan or Boba Fett or even like Baby Yoda is kind of like the face of Yoda. It's like we don't need that shit. We need the Mandalorian show. We needed that to be a Mandalorian show. He's a bounty hunter. He's earning credits. He's hunting shit every episode, not adventures in babysitting Star Wars style, like you say. Like that.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Andor, the great thing about Andor, and this is why I was excited about this series, is that they're not taking household names and throwing it in there. Like the most popular Star Wars character that's going to be in this that consistently might be Saul Guerrera. And that's only because
Mon
he was in
Mothma.
Rogue One. Well, Mon Mothma, yes, you're right. Mon Mothma
Yeah.
too, yes. But still, those are like the most popular ones. And I'm okay with that because I want to see more of their realm. So I just don't. I don't understand Kathleen
And
Kennedy
actually,
in Star Wars.
this episode did pander to fans. You had that Colonel from the Clone Wars series as well, who was in this. You had the Palpatine name drop. I mean, there was a bit of pandering, but that's fine when it's done correctly.
I was say it made sense though because they were, they were in the Empire.
Yeah.
It makes sense them mentioning Palpatine because it was such a big
it's not like
offense.
Palpatine's not. Yeah, they're on Coruscant. It's not like they don't, answer to him. He's there whether we see him or not. But apparently he's going to be talking to the Senate, whether we see him or not.
I hope they start off the next episode with Palpatine, like Ian McDermott talking to the Senate, and like Moff Mothma's there. Like we kind of follow up with Moff Mothma, and like that's when we should see our Palpatine moment right there, not like some video.
I want to boo somebody and go unlimited power.
I don't think he'd do that in the Senate. He might do that all. That might be what happens to Mon Mothma's wife and kid, or husband and kid. You never know.
A lot of people are thinking that his wife, his son and daughter his husband and daughter might get killed.
That's what I think. I think that's what's going to put her over the edge.
A lot of people are suggesting that. I'm not so sure, but we'll see how it is.
Or it could be even worse, and it could be the husband kills the daughter because trying to hold Moff Mothma, like say, don't you do it, like I will kill our daughter if you do this or something like that, and like he does because he's a fucking asshole.
Well, the when it comes to the Skarsgård family, like there is the least known Skarsgård of the lot is going to be playing Thrawn. I think he's the eldest of the three Skarsgård brothers, and he'll be playing Thrawn apparently. So yeah. So
a lot of people said Benedict Cumberbatch for Thrawn, and I'm like, I don't know. I originally was championing it.
I just don't want him in everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. I agree. I don't think he would be a good
Michael Fassbender, but until I realized he had all that baggage on him. Maybe it could be just an unknown actor in the day. I'm totally fine with that.
Get the Andor writers to do it. Shit, I think it would be great.
Because the thing is, if you get a serious heavyweight to play Thrawn, then that person needs to be a significant part of the show. And someone like Thrawn doesn't have to be unless you make it based on Thrawn. You know what I mean? If he's just a supporting role, then you don't necessarily need a Hollywood heavyweight to play him. You know, I mean, you do have Hollywood heavyweights like Giancarlo Esposito playing Moff Gideon and so on, but you don't need it for every. But someone like Thrawn, who's in more of an original character than Moff Gideon, who was kind of made just for Mandalorian, you either need someone who's a massive Hollywood heavyweight to play him consistently, or someone who isn't, just to have him in a few episodes here and there. So yeah.
Just before we wrap, the poll says that the episode gets an 8 to 9. So 50% said 8 to 9.
I'm just adding to it as well. Okay.
Still says 8 to 9.
Fantastic. So yeah, excellent stuff. So tomorrow we're going to be talking about from Star Wars to Star Trek as we go into Star Trek Lower Decks episode 9, I believe.
Yep.
Episode 9. It's a shame we're coming to the end of that particular season.
The following week is going to be a double header of animated.
Oh, Star Wars.
No, of Star Trek. The next week is going to be episode 10 of Lower Decks and episode 11 of season 1 of Prodigy. We're doing a double header again. So I gotta bust out that double header type thumbnail again, like I used to use.
We're gonna have to figure out a day as well, because also next week is the Star Wars animated shorts as well. They're bringing out like 5 or 6 episodes of Star Wars content next week. You know, one of them is about a young one about a young Count Dooku and all of that.
I've heard of that.
So there's gonna be there's gonna be like one-offs and stuff like that. So they're gonna be coming out next week as well. So we're gonna have to figure out a day to review that shit as well. If at some particular point, there's a lot.
I mean, we're probably gonna be open on Friday. We don't have anything Friday and Saturday anymore.
Yeah.
So,
but I think there's like 6 episodes and they all come out back to back. So
are they coming out weekly, or are they coming out daily, or are they coming out all at the same time?
In this particular occasion, they're going to do like what they did with Star Wars Visions and bring it out all at the same time.
Oh, well, so we can do Saturday.
So
we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. I mean, we'll just have to watch it in our own time and just make sure that we've accumulated all episodes by the time we do the review, which might be at the end of next week at some particular point. But yeah, so that too as well. And we're almost in November, and that means it's Willow time, baby, as well. So there's a lot to come.
Wakanda Forever's coming soon, and
oh yes, and as well as Black Adam is just around the corner as well. So
2 days, I think. Comes out on the 21st, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Critically panned so far, I just may add. But I'm actually holding up no hope whatsoever for Black Adam. I do think it's going to be a big pile of shit, but I would love to be proven wrong. I really would, But I don't think DC would know a good thing if it hit him over the head. So we'll see how that goes. And as we mentioned, as certain shows ends, new shows will be coming into play. So this never-ending smorgasbord conveyor belt of products will always be here for you here at NerdTube, the greatest YouTube channel you never heard of. Anything more to add, Cousin
Nope.
Cheeto?
Peace and long life.
So we'll see you this time, same time tomorrow for Lower Decks. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Take care now. Goodbye. Live long and prosper.